Up next, what are natural supports? Natural supports are important in meeting the needs of a young person and their family. In the presentation, you'll learn about the different kinds of natural supports and how they can be a part of accomplishing your goals. Barb has been active in children's mental health for close to 30 years, starting with her own lived experience as a parent. She's the executive director of Missouri Families for Families, an organization that provides support and training for parents and caregivers. Please join me in welcoming Barb to Real Voices, Real Choices.
Okay, I'm Barb Scheidegger with Missouri Family for Families, and I want to talk to you about natural supports today and different kinds of natural supports and how natural supports can be beneficial and helpful to you as a parent, caregiver of children and youth. I'd like for you to grab a pencil and paper. If you have one close, or just jot these thoughts down in your mind and memory. I have some questions I want you to think about to start this, get us thinking about natural supports and supports that we may have and how they are beneficial to us. If you were to lose your job, if your business where you work at is downsizing and your job is no longer available, you would be pretty devastated. So you might want to talk to someone or share this with. So who would you contact in that situation? Who would be the people that you would contact? Or maybe it's just one, or maybe it's multi people. What if your job transferred and you have to move to another town, state? You're moving. That could be pretty devastating also. It could be a new experience, but there could be a lot of challenges with it or uncomfortable until you get settled. And so who would you want for supports? Maybe supports from where you're living at currently, and look for supports for where you're going to go to research that. It's your child's first day of school. This is really exciting as a parent, grandparents, caregivers. It's a really exciting day, but maybe you're nervous about it for some reason. You have some anxiety about it. Your child's having some anxiety, and you try to support and help them, but you're concerned about their first day of school. And you might need some support while they're at school. Who would you turn to? Who would you contact for that support? Okay, your child has a temperature. You're not sure if you need to seek out medical treatment, but always make sure you do consider that and do seek out medical treatment first when a child is ill or has a temperature. But after you do that, maybe you want some other support while you're nurturing and caring for your child at home, just some reassurance from someone else. Okay, the school has called you about your child's behavior, and maybe they're even been expended out of school. It's been suspension, and you're really, what, this is the first time you've ever experienced anything like this. What do I do? You're really devastated. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to support your child. And what do you need to do? And then an even worse scenario would be you get a phone call, your son has been arrested. I don't know anything about the juvenile justice system. I don't know anything about the system. Everything is very unknown. What do I even do? Can I contact them? What do I do? Do I go there? What do I do? So you might want to reach out to some support. You might want some supports in this area also. So these are some different ways that you might want supports from. There's a lot of other reasons that you would want or need support that you wouldn't want to do and deal with these situations by yourself. There could be a lot of other different scenarios. Okay, what were the answers to these questions? Did you list a service provider? Did you list doctors, nurses, caseworkers, counselors, therapists? Any of those answers to those questions? Do all of them? Did you list a family member or friend? Is that where you would reach out to for some of those situations that you were in? Some might be that way, some might be a service provider. Did you list someone from your community, somebody that you know in the community that you reached out to? Did you think about these that you were reaching out to and connecting with them? Did you think about are they available? Are they available at this time? Sometimes your kids get sick in the middle of the night. Is the professional available at them. There's always professionals available for emergency services, definitely. But what are some other ones that you just want to ask some questions about a situation? So I'm going to talk about some different types of supports, and I kind of put them in 3 different areas of supports, and we'll view which support maybe you would consider to use for which kind of that your need is. Formal supports, natural community supports, and natural family supports. Now let's look into these 3 different groups a little more. Formal supports. Formal supports are usually involve some form of payment for services. May include relationships with service providers, such as a counselor, therapist, line staff, or a care or case manager. Who are those formal supports that you have in place for yourself, for your child or youth? Who are those? And I'm sure you probably have a list of their contact information handy, and that would be a great idea to have a list and know how to reach those when you need to, when they are available. Natural community sports are ones established in the community and can be accessed for maybe your child's needing for some social skills, maybe some activities. You're hating to see your child sit at home by themselves all the time. You like to see them out with friends, connect with other kids some way. How would you find the resources to do that and find encouraging? Maybe yourself, you just need some encouragement from some other parents of children and youth. What have they done? Somebody that's experienced it, and how do you connect to these other parents? We have support groups for parents, grandparents. We have a separate group for grandparents. So we have a means and a ways that you can check out our website and Facebook page, can be able to connect to some other parents and caregivers even in your area where you're at, or even not in your area, but you could also reach out to ones in your area. Then what about natural family supports? This is just natural supports from relationships from your families. Could be friends in your community, long relationships that you've had, and maybe as you've been dealing with a lot of challenges and things with your child or youth, you may have kind of isolated yourself and you're not connected to the same group of friends, and maybe what you're needing from relationships and friends is now totally different in family members. Maybe you're looking for somebody that has similar experiences that you're experiencing right now, and somebody that you feel like could be there for you 24/7. Your natural family supports is usually ones that are there at most any time, and you know who they are, and you have a list of those, and make sure you think about this ahead of time. When can I contact? Maybe ask them, can I contact you at any time? What's your preference on that? Need to know those information. So formal supports involve the ones who are receiving payment for your services, your doctor, your counselor, a therapist, and caseworkers and workers for your child and your youth, teachers. These are all formal supports that are available at set time. Not ones that you can reach usually on the weekends and other times, but they're available during their normal working time for you to reach out to for supports for your child and youth. Natural community supports. Maybe your child is you just see your child being alone, sitting at home all the time alone, and you should always know what is your child's strengths. What do they like to do? What activities? What would they like to do for fun? Sometimes you may have to help them to explore that. They may be so isolated and down that they're not thinking about those topics either. So you may have to help them with that. Ask some questions. What do you like to do? What would you like to do? If they say they don't have any friends to do, but what would you like to do if you had friends and relationships to do this with? What kind of activities? Is there some kind of supports? Do you just want to take a walk? You want to play in a playground with some friends? And you want to be able to connect to somebody when you're feeling bad and just need that little extra lift up. And as a parent, you need the same thing. You need those community supports too. Maybe engage in some kind of group in your community. Sometimes some of these community natural groups they have a cost to them sometimes. Sometimes you can explore ways to maybe you can provide funding for the cost, but sometimes they have costs, so you have to consider that. You might find some groups of some sports groups or groups, churches or youth group at church that does not cost you, and you could check those out and see and talk to ones that already have children involved with those programs and see what you think the reaction of, are they family friendly? Would they be accepting to your child and to you as an individual and to those groups? Make sure you check them out and ask questions. Hey, your family support, it's just natural. Maybe it's grandpa taking your son fishing. Maybe he's already doing that on a regular basis. Maybe they were doing it, and maybe because of behaviors or challenges or illnesses that they have stopped doing that. Maybe see if you can get that relationship and that going again. It could be a great time of one-on-one. Maybe there's other family members or aunt and uncle that would support and mentor your child for a period of time, or maybe you have somebody in the family that has a real gift or skill or work at a certain job that has some skills and crafts and that would show your child would be interested, and they could send someone on time. It could be a mentor and a good role model. A lot of things could come out of those relationships of supports that we look for. But based on the mutual interests, like your grandson likes to go fishing and your dad likes to go fishing, there you based the interest for both together. Maybe there's somebody that likes to do some woodworking, building, making things, and your son likes to do that. In the case of a girl, maybe there's a daughter that likes to do painting, and look for somebody with some art projects or some art clubs or something to join to encourage and expand on her interest of painting and drawing and designing. Or maybe they want to be into sports too, and maybe you can find somebody that would help them, even a family member that would help go with them and encourage them into sports or into those natural community supports. Maybe you need someone to introduce them to kind of be a mentor, be a coach to them, and build that relationship. The more relationships you build with those, the more relationships and opportunities, so that you're not depending on the one same person all the time. The more variety that you have for supports, and the more that your child or youth has for supports will expand your options that you will have when people are available. Emotionals. We as parents, we're always very emotional. Things affect us. We always need support for our emotions, and we acknowledge our emotions. They're real. They're what we feel. Find somebody, possibly another parent with similar experiences. Look for somebody that has some experiences like you that could better understand what you're going through, what your needs are. They can give you moral or emotional supports because they've been there and done that, or they're currently doing it. Where do you find these parents that are similar experience? Look for your support groups. Look online, look on Facebook, ask around in your neighborhood to find out who has some similar experience that you're going through. There's a lot to be said for talking to someone that has been there or experienced similar feelings. So easy could connect when you've had the same experiences. It's hard for somebody to support you and understand you if they've never experienced what you're experiencing. They can try and they can be a support, but the ones that have actually experienced the feelings that you're going, maybe they currently are right now, or maybe they have, and now they've moved past that area in life, but they're willing to support and help you. It's natural for us to need emotional supports. We all have emotions, we have feelings, and sometimes we need support for those emotions. wraparound principles. I don't know if you've heard of wraparound. It's pretty well known. The wraparound philosophy, team planning. It's about your family's voice and choice, that your family and you have a voice and choice about the voice in what you think your needs are, what will work for you, what will work for your family, and then the choices to choose what those are. And you're community-based and it's outcomes-based. You want good outcomes. It doesn't work one way, you try a different way to get the outcomes that you're looking for. It involves an unconditional caring. So you're looking for somebody for support that unconditionally cares for your child and youth and you. It's strength-based. You want to look at the positive and the strength of your child has, and strength of you and strength of individuals that are going to support you. So it's not negative. You want those strengths, you want those positive things going on, and individualized. If your grandpa's taking your son fishing, that's pretty individualized. So that fits both of their needs, and it's individualized to what they like to do. And success is more likely to happen. And need culture competence to consider that in your choices and looking. And collaboration, you need to always have communication, collaboration with people in your community to find out your workers and to talk and always ask questions. When it comes to the natural supports, which is what we're talking about, and the natural supports and the community and family, and too, that they are individualized to meet your particular need, your child, your youth's needs. It's so very important that it fits together. Some benefits of the natural community and family supports is based on caregivers and youth wants, not on what professionals recommend. Professionals may recommend, and they may have some great ideas, and it may be, oh yeah, that's what I hadn't thought about that. That would be great. And that's fine, but just they might have some ideas or thoughts from something that they know might not be something your child or youth would want or would be even interested in to do, or maybe not now, maybe later on at a time they would be. You have to find that starting point of the supports, and you can always expand and grow your supports and your child and youth supports. But most important, natural sports allow for an environment that fosters laughter and friends. We want our kids and youth to have friends. We want to see them laugh. We want to see them happy. So these supports will foster that environment. If you're connecting to ones that support them and interest and common things line up together, that will foster that friendship and even laughter and having fun together. You want to see them have fun together with their friends and not be isolated. You want to pull them out from their isolation. And even yourself as a parent, you can become very isolated. Your friends can really change. It can seem like you have nothing in common with your friends that were your friends for at this point in time. So you're looking for some new relationships. You may still go back to a lot of the old relationships, not that you're going to end those. They're still there. They're there whenever you need them, but maybe you need some different types of relationships and supports too. And some of these benefits are so valuable that they can last a lifetime. As you gain these relationships, they can continue on. I've seen some grandparents come to our support groups and they have connected and they have built a relationship. They felt so alone. They were by themselves. They didn't think anybody understood what they were going through as they're raising their child, and also they're still dealing with their own child, and they just feel isolated and different. Nobody else is experiencing this. When they come together and they realize, oh my gosh, somebody else is doing this. And I've seen where they have told stories that were funny of things that they have done, that they sit back and look at them afterwards and think, that was really funny. Why did I do that? And they talk about that and they share those and they laugh together. They even build some relationships outside of the groups. They may go out and have lunch together. Even have two parents, even they went on a trip together. They went and stayed in a hotel and did some traveling together. They told other family members, you're in charge for a few days. I'm taking a break. And how refreshing and rewarding that was for them. And when they came back, and then they shared their experience and they give ideas and suggestions to other grandparents for ideas to do the same thing and how connections with sport help. Explore your own natural community sport. What are your family's hopes and dreams? Always remember, always have some hopes and dreams for your family. Know what your child or youth's dreams and hopes are. What do they hope to do? What are their dreams? What do they want to become? It may change at different times, but what is it currently? And keep up with it as their ideas and thoughts change as they grow and mature. What would you like to spend time doing? What would they like to spend time doing? So we're talking about that. As a parent, caregiver, grandparent, you need support. We're talking about your child, your youth needs supports, and there are different types of supports that each one needs. They need their own type of supports together and away from each other. What would your youth or child like to do to spend their time? Do they like sports? Do they not like sports? Do they like electronics? Do they like art stuff? Do they like doing things with their hands? What is it that they really like? Maybe even, ask them some questions about that, explore that, expose them to some different kinds of crafts and activities and things. So they have a broader knowledge of what's out there. Expose them and let them decide, okay, I really like that. I'd like to do that. I'd like to learn how to do that. And then you can start finding supports for them for that. It develops our sense of social belonging, dignity, and self-esteem. It definitely can improve your child's self-esteem if you have them connected and they got them involved in something they're really enjoying and liking to do, and they like to spend time with this person. They feel a social belonging. Sometimes our children have challenges and difficulties with social skills. It's belonging socially. They want to isolate themselves so they feel like they don't belong. So help your child to feel like they belong socially, maybe one small step at a time, depending on where they're at this time. Sometimes you can role model that stuff with your own relationships with your friends. Always know and always be on the alert for in your community. What are the resources that exist? Always be looking for new resources. Where do you find those? Ask them your friends and neighbors. Ask at the school, what are resources in the area? Now that we have computers and internet, we can look up and find resources and things sometimes very simply and very easily. Sometimes if you're finding resources that you would like to do and they cost some money, don't just end it there. Look and see any opportunities or ways. Do they offer any scholarship? Ask them if they know of ways that other parents get funding for their child to do this. What are some options? Is there any businesses that would support this? Any organizations? Look for nonprofits, look for the churches. There are activities within a church that don't cost. Or maybe a church would help you fund to be able to pay the cost for your child to participate and be involved in something. We realize a lot of activities and events these days, there are costs to them. Don't just close the door on it. Keep exploring what are those. Ask some other parents how are they affording to do this? Where do they get help and support from? There's certain characters you need to look for in your natural family support. You want somebody that emphasizes with you, that understands what you're coming from, can relate to you in some way, and don't just brush off your feelings and say, oh, that's not important, and you just feel like they don't think that it's important, and it's a huge big deal to you, but may not seem that to them. So you're looking for somebody, and not that they don't want to understand, maybe they just can't. They're not at a point where they understand. You can have a different relationship with different people for different reasons, but you need somebody that can emphasize with you. Affirm your strengths and uniqueness. Know and recognize the things you accomplished in life, both large and small. Also know what your child's strengths are and what their uniquenesses are, and somebody that would recognize that if you're looking for a support for them. And always let your child be the final one. Just you can introduce them to sports, but let them decide if that's a support to them. The same way that you decide if the support is a match for you. If you connect with this person, you will know when you do. It just will naturally happen. Maybe your child needs somebody to play with them for a period of time. Maybe you want to just somebody to join you to go to a walk or ride along with you in the car or share jokes with, to have some fun, cut up, right? Have some fun. Maybe your child needs that in their relationship and their support. Maybe you need that too. And maybe you need somebody that plays games, play card games or something to have fun with, to get back to life and breaks your cycle of always being negative. Look at the positive things. You want somebody that's open-minded, that they will listen, they'll let you speak your true feelings. And you want somebody that, I think at times people will be sharing and say, yeah, I had a similar, then they go into their story. You need to find somebody that will listen to you first, listen to what you're sharing and what you need, that you need to talk and share. You're not going there to listen at that point in time to listen to their stories and to support them. Right now, you're needing the support, and later on, you may support them, and then later on, you could be somebody that supports a lot of other parents and families, and your child might be one. As they get older, can be a mentor, a supporter to a younger child too. There's always the give back time that you can do as you learn these supports. With somebody that accepts you for who you are, where you're at right now in your life, to be non-judgmental about what's going on with you, where you're at, and would turn to you when they needed help. Somebody that kind of a mutual role. You're there for them and they're there for you. And you're looking for somebody for your child. It's going to be non-judgmental on your child, going to be encouraged. See the positive, see the strength of your child. And somebody that sees your strength and what you can give. Then you want to explore who your natural family supports are. Who are the people that are currently involved in your family's life? Friends, family, co-workers? Who are those who's your family that's there and stayed with you through everything? Even as stay at home, might have neighbors, might be a familiar grocery clerk that you see every week or talk to as a parent or sibling on a regular basis. Look for those. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's right now next door neighbor, but maybe it's a neighbor somewhere in your neighborhood. And those people at the store, so many people connect. But when you're in the store, you run into people in your neighborhood when you're in a local community store. Who can you count on for help? Who do you think, Miss? Make a list, think about who you could count on for help. Who would be there if you needed them? Excuse me. Sometimes you can have friends and relationships and you can expect or think that they might be there, but then sometimes as it plays out, are they really there, or do they always have any excuses that they're not there? So probably after a while, if you keep contacting somebody and they're unavailable, you probably will just kind of move on to someone else, and that's okay. Maybe that just wasn't the role that you guys played together. It still doesn't mean that they're friends. You're not friends anymore, just not for this particular need that you have. What did you do to establish those relationships, the relationships that you have that are working, that are good? What did you do? If you want to expand and have more of those, what do you have in common? What are the common things that drove you together to have a relationship? That you can build on some of those to establish some new relationships if you want some new relationships. And maybe you're not wanting to burn out one friend all the time and always use one. You want a variety of ones that are maybe you have a good friend that works and you don't really want to bother her at nighttime, but you have another one that is not working and that you could, maybe they would be available, or we know the ones that are available 24/7, the ones that are not. Know those things ahead of time so you don't run a relationship by contacting somebody that wouldn't want to be contacted during the night. Know the availability, know what they're willing to offer to help you with and to support you with. Don't let today's challenges keep you from experiencing life and all it holds. Don't think that this is just going to go on forever. These challenges are. You need to still reach out for support while these times are going on. Think about the long term. What can the long term results be from these relationships? Make sure you have supporters that care about your child like you do. You want someone to support them and that really care about them as a person. It's just not something they're just willing to do for you. You want them to really care about, they're supporting your child. You want them to care about them and be interested in them. And what opportunities they would have for the future, and is this a long-lasting term for your child? Do they support you all, support them all the way through? Know who those are, and if there's ones that just supports for certain things, maybe somebody's supporting your child for in supports, and somebody else is supporting them for just spending time together, somebody for them to talk to, share everything with. There's different kinds of needs that we have and different kinds of supports we need to match those different kinds of needs that we would have. Okay, benefits of having support, natural supports. Provided when we need them, 24/7. And natural supports are based on what the parent, caregivers, and child and youth want, not on what professionals recommend. Professionals may have some recommendations to you, and they may usually most also professionals support you, and having natural supports makes their work and job easier too. They may have some recommendations you haven't thought of. You can ask them, take the recommendations, check those out, explore them, but you're not limited to just that. So always remember that the supports allow for you to have fun, friends, laughter with your friends, your child also to have friends and fun and activities to do, things that they enjoy, and that you have supports that enables and embraces things that you like to do and have fun to do. It could take a lot of energy to develop these relationships. The benefits are invaluable and they can last your lifetime. You probably have some friends. Think about the friends relationships that you have now. How long have some of those been that you've had those? Why are the reasons that they've lasted so long? How did they develop? Look at how they developed and how they are still going on. What are they? Maybe they're even your distant relationships now. You're not even close to each other, but you're still very much connected, and you know they're only a phone call away from you or a text message away from you to contact them whenever you need the supports. As I said before, we have offer one-on-one supports to parents and caregivers. We also have support groups. We call them family together support groups, and we have ones for parents and we have one for grandparents, and we have some different locations of those. Right now we're doing most all of those by Zoom. So as we move forward, we'll be going back to doing some of those often with Zoom or in person, face to face. And that's how, and I'm in the Just City area. We cover the whole state. I have Renee listed there from the St. Louis region. She's our Eastern Regional Director, and from the St. Louis area, we have ones in the Southwest, West, Southeast, Central. And ones located in different areas of the state that we can put you in contact with. We would love to support you as a parent, caregiver, children and youth with the challenges that you're dealing with, whatever those may be. Could be with the school, could be with the juvenile system, could be with children's division, whatever you're needing support with, we would so much be glad to help and support you. But most of all, reach out to your own natural supports and your family supports and people that's in your community and in your neighborhood. And I thank you for spending this time with me and letting me share, encourage you on the importance of support system for you and for your family. And thank you.
So cool.
Okay.
So you have that first question there, Barb. It says, what is natural support for nonverbal young adults?
That would you would have to seek that out in your community and for them, and try to maybe connect to some other parents and families. Find some other parents that would what have they used, and find out from them what's available. What do you have friends? Do they have friends? Connect maybe with the school and friends at school. Just have to really research that.
Okay,
I
great.
love the idea of reaching out to other parents who have perhaps needed to seek out the same resources. As we mentioned before you came on, it really does take a village, and it's so important, I think, also for parents and grandparents, caretakers, to know that they're not alone. They're not the first ones who have gone through some of these challenges. Is that something that you find true?
Oh yes, they don't realize there's other ones that are having some of the same challenges, because we have a tendency to isolate ourselves because it feels like something that we don't know how to handle or what to do, and surely nobody else is dealing with this. I haven't heard about it. I think that's why it's important, like the previous presentation on telling your story. I think you need to get your story out there so other parents know that there are people dealing with things, so they would feel comfortable to connect. A lot of times parents feel ashamed and blame. That's kind of been a natural thing that has kind of happened. I think that is correcting a lot now and changing a lot, which is really, really good. I think because of more people talking and sharing their story, it's really helped to make it knowledge and that you're not the only person dealing with. Sometimes your relationships and friendships change when you're change too, and that's not necessarily a negative thing, because you're just connecting to the people with similar experiences.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that that's huge in our lives. I mean, in my personal life, I mean, to have support from other parents and who have teenagers at home, I mean, that is super helpful to me to have that. So, yeah, that's great information.
So
Does anyone else?
Where might
I'm sorry,
someone,
Deb. Go ahead.
sorry, where might someone start if they are sort of just kind of entering this phase of where they're really feeling like they are on an island and they need some supports? Would they contact you, Barb, or where does someone start?
They certainly can contact me. They can contact the organization. We connect them to a person in their area too. We could connect them to our support groups where there would be definitely other parents that they could connect with. That's a great connect. That's one of the purposes of the support group, is connect. Just, now we kind of have the advantage of kind of searching for things now that we can kind of find those supports and places to connect to. It's easier now a lot. Someday, the media things, Facebook is a good one. I see parents connecting on there all the time. They'll ask a question. I need some unpent from some other parents. Here's my question. and usually they'll get a lot of answers. And so you can kind of look through those and see what you think would suit your situation.
Well, and your
Absolutely.
organization does an outstanding job of celebrating and recognizing organizations and individuals that really go above and beyond to help families connect and find the support that they need. Can you tell us a little bit about the different recognitions that your organization does?
Well, we support Children's Mental Health Week, which is in the first week, full week in May, and we have an event each year called the Shining Light Award, and we had to go virtual last year. We're thinking about this in 2022 of doing it a combination of both ways and let people choose how they would like to participate and attend. But we recognize parents, caregivers, professionals, the youth, the child, and also ones that do advocacy. We've had some outstanding awards that we've given to children and youth that are advocating for a classmate in their class and helping them and supporting them. We kind of started this with the idea our kids don't get recognition that much. They don't get awards and at school and places for their achievements. But they work very hard to achieve their goals and make progress. And sometimes there's small progress, but they work really hard for that. So we reach out to statewide and try to get parents and professionals and everyone that knows these kids and knows the parents to recognize them. We now have moved into, there's a lot of grandparents caring for children. And we did a special support group just for that because their needs are different. Like we do presentations. We partner with the organization that does presentations on guardianship because that becomes an issue a lot of times with them. And one thing that makes them very different, and they seem to want to isolate themselves more. And because they're dealing with two things, they're dealing with their child for the reasons why they're raising their grandchild, if it's mental health or drugs or what, they're dealing with that. And they're also dealing with the grandchild. So it's like a two thing that makes it different with what so they really just, there's so many of them that they just really need to have the support for each other. And it's interesting how they really do connect to each other and they engage outside our meeting and have fun together. And they like to meet during the day after they drop off their kids from school. They said, this is our time. And that's, and then just the other support groups and connections too. We do a lot of one-on-one. I just I get calls from parents, grandparents asking, this is my situation. What can I do? Some of them we always get the calls where you're at the crisis, the desperation is in place a lot of times. So you have to connect them, help them, go to meetings with them, meet with them one-on-one, and whatever they're comfortable with at this time to meet on a one-on-one, or they may just want to talk on the phone or however we can reach out to them. And we partner with agencies and other organizations, and I participate on several of the statewide system of care teams, probably about 8 or 9 of them now. And that's how I get to know the service providers in those communities. And then I also provide our resource and contact information and groups to those professionals and those on there. And some of them have national supports too on their system of care teams, which is really great. And I encourage them to do that.
That sounds great. We sure appreciate all the information you've been sharing today. I'm just trying to see if there's any more questions from our audience. Does anyone have any questions for Barb that she has not already covered? We still have a few minutes left, so you guys can type in the chat your questions and we'll get those routed to Barb. See, Barb, you did such a wonderful job on your presentation. Everybody's like, I don't have anything to ask. She answered all of it.
Maybe they're already doing natural supports, and that would
Maybe
be great.
so.
Yeah. I kind of
Maybe.
divided it up into the family support in your community, and a lot of times that's not always done, but I do the family one because you need somebody that's people that are available 24/7. Because
Absolutely.
our crisis and situations happens a lot of times nighttime and weekends, and seems to always happen at those times.
I would agree with that. Yes.
Yeah, anybody certainly welcome to contact us. I think Renee is probably on here from St. Louis, and she does a lot of work and with the families and in the St. Louis area, and also with the professionals and partnerships agencies there in St. Louis.
Great. I'm seeing lots of comments about great information and thanking you for providing it all today. Just lots of yes, like I agree. So very informative. So good information for everyone to have. Looks like they enjoyed getting it.
They think of questions later, they can contact me and ask them.
Absolutely. We popped your email up in the comments there so that folks can see it on the screen. There it is again. And so if anyone thinks of questions after Barb is gone, you can certainly feel free to email her or email me, and we can route those to her for sure.
Well, there's a comment talking about the Shining Light Awards given in April of each year, which you mentioned. And it said, be sure to nominate someone when the application comes out. Tell us a little bit about when does that application come out, and what can someone do to nominate someone for the Shining Light Award?
It comes out towards the end of the year because we have the award ceremony the first Saturday in April. So we have to have them in by probably the 1st of March for the committee to select them. And then we have to get the plaques ready. And we make our own plaques and have a engraver locally that does a great job of engraving. We're very conscious on money and spending. And also another thing that we do is we design the Children's Mental Health Week poster every year. We did that for quite some time now, and the Department of Mental Health recognizes, accepts that, and they order and purchase our posters, and we distribute them statewide. It was different trying to distribute them last year than we did before because we always do them at a lot of committee meetings and stuff, and so we did more mailing or more online of the posters, but we'll be designing that poster starting on Ed Sharpley, and we use the youth and children and the parents to design that poster. Those ideas come from them. What's the message that you want out there for this year? And then we try to make the poster that is not. Last year we made it so that it wasn't just for that week. It could be used all year long. It was a message they wanted out all the time. So, and that's kind of the reason that DMH recognized and lets us do the poster, because they say we have the pulse from the children, youth, and the family members themselves.
Absolutely. I would concur with that for sure. And if anyone has an opportunity to go to the DMH website and check out the children's mental health posters, they really are tremendous. And you all have done a fantastic job with designing those posters year after year after year. In fact, it's been a number of years, hasn't it? That like maybe even decades that you all have designed the posters?
Yes, I've been part of the designing of the posters since they started in Missouri in 1923 was the first poster, and the theme of that year was healthy on the outside, hurting on the inside. And that was a tremendous message that the families wanted to get out. And then after a few years, it was recognized to be the national poster, and it was taken to the National Federation conference, and other states used our poster, and some states and still use our poster. I get they request them every year. So so Missouri Families has designed the poster since we were organized in 2006. So we have designed the poster ever since then.
Well, and again, they are really well done, and I believe the DMH website has many of the posters from years past, so that you can go back and sort of see the historical the posters that have happened throughout time. So awesome! Thank you so much for your work with that. And
yeah, you really can see the development through the years of what was going on, what was the focus for, and you can see the progress of growth of changes from year to year and what accomplished as far as the children's mental health issues moving forward.
Absolutely.
That's
Well,
awesome.
thank you so much for the tremendous presentation you provided today on natural supports. We are always so grateful for your insight and certainly for all of the input that you provide to help us plan this conference. So thank you, Barb, for being just a really strong advocate and supporter and presenter for us here at the conference. Christina, anything else?
Just to say thank you to Barb again for being willing to present. And like you said, Deb, I mean, you work on the committee as well throughout the year. So thank you for working with that group as well. I know it's been tough the past year being virtual, but I think we've come through and everyone's doing just fine. So thank you for all of that.
Well, thank you for the opportunity and for the committee and for the opportunity to give me to get the message out about natural supports and connecting to families.
Absolutely.